Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Joe with Adelie Logistics, and we're going to do another video tutorial for you today. Today we're going to talk about using the QuickReport in Adelie Logistics. This is a report that we use for keeping track of what rental items are going out, and specifically it's for your warehouse personnel and whoever is preparing those rental items to get ready to go out on those orders in advance of the rental orders themselves. And so those of you who are in rentals, you understand, though, it's not just a matter of booking a rental order and then they just automatically go out and come back and everything's fine and dandy. There's a lot of preparation work that goes into getting those rental items ready to rent again. Once they've come back from a rental, they're sometimes dirty, often they're broken, or there's something wrong, or some process that needs to happen in order to get those items ready to rent again. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And at Adelie Logistics, we've created a little report to help your team manage that process. It's called the QuickReport. And so we're in our dashboard here at Adelie Logistics. When you log in, it first goes to your Quick Tracker. This is where you can track your rental inventory and run those numbers. But if you look up at the top, there's a navigation menu. And if you click over to QuickReport, that's where we're going to go. You're going to see this drop-down menu to select a category of rentals. And so we do it by category for a reason. Typically, your categories are going to be broken up into departments. For example, if you're running an event rental company, you'll have a linen department or a catering department where those people take care of prepping those particular items for rental orders. So let's just take linens, for example. So let's run a linen report. And this is going to give us a calendar view of any day that we have linens going out on rental orders. And you'll see several different boxes here with different colors associated with those boxes. And I'll go through each of those right now and we'll discuss what those mean. So the first color is red, and that indicates that there's some type of problem on that day. Either you're overbooked on linens or a particular type or size or color of linen, or something has been marked as broken or unusable. Any type of problem that can be associated with that is going to be flagged here so that whoever logs into this report can see that there's a problem on that day for this rental category. The next one is an unstarted status, and this just means simply that yes, you do have items in this category that are rented that day, but no one has started working on them or preparing them to get them ready. So that still needs to be done. The next one is an unfinished status. So this means, yes, you have rentals going out that day, and someone has started working on them, but they're not quite finished yet. So you need to go through that list and make sure that they're all ready to go still. And then finally, the green is going to indicate that all the rental items in that category for that day have been completed and they're ready to go out, no issues. So let's take a look at a couple of these days here. Let's start with one where we haven't started doing any work on it. And so let's say, for example, we're going to look at next Friday, and it looks like we have linens going out. So let's click on next Friday, the 20th, and it's going to give us a list of all of the linens that are going out next Friday. We have several listed here. We have their names, their size, their color, the item description, and these are all pulling from invoices in your QuickBooks, obviously. And so if I click on one of these, it's going to drop down and tell me there are 6 120-inch purples going to invoice 26643 for Deepa Prasad. Okay. If there were multiple invoices that had this same color and size on it, then they would all be listed here. And if there were multiple and I was confused about what else was on those orders, I could simply click on that link and it would drop me down further to where that invoice is, and I could see all of the other items that are on that invoice as well. Now this is important because let's say, for example, you're working on these 120-inch round purple linens and something happened with them. You rented them, you thought you had them available, but they also got rented the week before maybe, and they came back and now they're stained and they're going to take longer to process, or perhaps, this happens all the time, candle wax dripped on them, hot candle wax, burnt a hole in one or two of them and now they're not usable, and you're at the week of this event and there's no way that you can order some in time or do what you need to get those ready for this particular order. Knowing what else is on their order can help you determine if it's possible that you could maybe suggest a different size of this same color of linen, right? So in this example here, we have a 72-inch round table, 6 of them, and we have 6 120-inch purples going on those tables. Well, you know that a 120-inch round drops 3/4 of the way to the floor on a 72-inch round table. So this customer is obviously not concerned about those linens going all the way to the floor. So they may be interested, or at least willing to perhaps go to a different size, maybe a 108-inch round, which only goes halfway down instead of the full 3/4 that they have here. And so that kind of gives you information that you can use to go out and check and see if you have 108 purples that you could substitute instead. And then I always suggest just being completely upfront and honest with the customer, calling them, explaining the situation, and then suggesting alternatives that you have. But at least you have the information here as a person working in this linen department to be able to decide what you can do there. So that's a way that you can use that report down here. Now let's go back up to the list here, and we can see, okay, well, we have all of these linens that are rented, and the first view when you come in, you're going to have several different columns. It shows you the amount available that you should have, and then other columns here that we're going to be working with, and I'll show you in a minute. But if we take away all of the columns, all of the extra columns, and we just show the amount rented and the completed, these are your main fields that you want to know, right? So you have 6 120-inch purples, and this column indicates whether or not you have completed and that they're ready to rent again. As soon as I complete all 6 of any item, that line is going to turn green. And then you'll notice up top that this day has now been started, but it's not finished. So it changed the color to blue. It's not orange anymore. So I've started working on this, but I'm not finished. And as I go down this list and complete all of these, as soon as I complete the last one, you'll notice that now the day has changed to green, which means I've gone through and I've pulled all of these linens, I've checked them all, they're ready to go, and I've divvied them out into the specific orders that they're going in, they're hanging, they're on the racks ready to go. Now, let's say, for example, that as you're working on some of these, you for some reason can't find all of the linens that you need to. So if you click on this available, it's going to populate how many you have available, how many you should have available of this particular item. So you think you're supposed to have 124, you go out and for some reason you can't find these 20 that you're supposed to be renting this week. Maybe they got left at a different venue the week before or something. And you need to make a note of that because you're a few days before this event still, and you have time to figure out where they are. But you've only been able to find, let's say you've finished 10, and if I click this found button here, I can indicate the number that I found as well. And so obviously there's plenty missing from what we're supposed to have and what I've found in the warehouse. So let's make a note of what we've found and where we think they might be. So if I click on the notes, it's going to populate a notes column. And now I can leave a note regarding this specific pink napkin. And I'll say, only found 10, rest were left at Right House last week. Okay, so now I've indicated that I've only found 10 and the rest were left at the Right House for last week, from last week's order. And so now the next person that comes to work on this, let's say I'm working today but I'm not working tomorrow, if there's a different person in the linen department working on this particular day tomorrow, they'll be able to see that this day has been started, it's not yet finished, they can click on it and they can see where I left off, that I've found the 10, that I've completed the 10, so I'm still waiting on 10 more, and I can read that person had indicated that the rest were waiting to be coming back from the Right House, the venue that we took them to last week. And so that's a way that you can keep your whole team in sync and in the know about what's going on with these particular linens. There are other options that I can select here. If I click on the stock, that's going to tell me how many I own of this particular product. So I own 124, and it's saying that I have 124 available, which means I don't have any other orders besides this Casey Calder order that have these pink polyester napkins on them. So let's take a look. That's a really straightforward example. Let's take a look at a day where there's a problem. So if I click on, 2 weeks from now on the 27th, I'll see that I have 2 linens here that I have rented, but I have none available. And my stock is showing that I don't even own them. So now I have to make a decision. Am I going to purchase these 5 polyester runners and these 10 teal 120-inch rounds? Or am I going to sub-rent them? Or how am I going to do it? Am I going to call a customer and try and switch them? There's several things you can do. If you decide to purchase them, you can click on the purchase column, and then you can indicate how many you did purchase of those. So let's say we were able to find these polyester runners, these teal polyester runners, from the company that we sourced them from. And now let's make a note of where we purchased them from. So in my notes column, we use GBS, so I'm going to say 5 coming from GBS. And I can indicate the purchase order number as well. So I can say PO number 2431. And now I know that these 5 are coming from the GBS purchase order 2431. And then I can even say that they're expected to arrive on Tuesday, the 24th. So now there's no question. We know that these 5 are taken care of. I haven't completed them yet because they haven't arrived and they're not ready, but I have indicated that we've purchased them and we know where they're coming from, so whoever sees this report will not have to worry that this is red and they can move forward. Now let's go ahead and let's say we sub-rent these 120 inches because we don't want to purchase those to have them in our inventory. So we'll sub-rent 5 and we can make a note saying that we sub-rented from GBS invoice number 5243. Now we know that these have been rented from GBS from this invoice number. We can put the date of the arrival if we want to. Expected to arrive on Tuesday. And let's go ahead and complete these 80 here. And now let's say we've come to the 24th. These have arrived and they're ready. Now I can complete these and the entire day will turn green. And so we know we're ready to go at this point. So we can do this for any given rental category. They're all listed here. Any of the ones that you've created in your account will show up here. And anytime an item in that category shows up on an invoice, it's going to populate on the specific day that it's supposed to be going out so that your warehouse crew can then click on that day and begin working on those items to make sure that everything has been prepared and ready for the rental order for that day. That's really it, guys. Thanks for listening. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, we really appreciate you checking out this video and we will see you next time.